hindsight, knowing what I know now, I sold the Neverfull, I sold the Speedy, I sold the Neo No Way, I sold the Montaigne BB. I would have just saved all that money and gotten a classic flap from Chanel. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Celesta. We talk about all things luxury shopping and handbags. If you love those things, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification to post videos twice a week. I felt like this is such a fun video, and I think honestly, when you sell a bag, people expect you to like regret it. Like, I sold a lot of classic style bags. I sold my Neverfull, I sold my Speedy, and I was expecting to feel some sort of regret. And I think I made a lot of these decisions because what's available now in 2025 wasn't available then. I didn't know it was available since I was just starting out in luxury, and it's like a lot of things, but here are styles that I sold and what I would have gotten instead. Okay, starting with the Neverfull, I got it in monogram canvas with the beige interior. I got this in summer of 2018, and this was like my first big girl bag, and I think this was probably the hardest for me to get rid of because I knew I wasn't using it, but it had so much sentimental value for me that I just like couldn't justify getting rid of it. However, I just like wasn't reaching for this. It was hard to style. I didn't want to be super flashy, logo heavy, especially using this as a work bag. So I think had I known what's available now, which is the Neverfull in empreinte leather, they have the inside out Neverfull with the black interior, I definitely would have gotten one of those instead of the canvas one. It would have been a little bit more expensive than the monogram canvas, which I got. Knowing what I know now, that's kind of what I would have done differently. Very similarly, we have the Neo No Way. I got the Neo No Way, I think October of 2020, and this was kind of inspired because like it was COVID time. Everyone was like doing picnics in the park, eating out, and I liked the idea that this was a classic bag in the sense, and it was designed originally to carry champagne. And I was like, what a cute idea, what a cute bag. And I learned with the Neverfull and with a couple other bags that I didn't like vachetta leather. I didn't like the handles, I didn't like the vachetta trim because it tends to darken over time. It's something that you need a baby and it stains easily, you know, things like that. And so I learned I didn't like vachetta. So I thought in 2020, 2 years after buying the Neverfull, that it would be a good idea for me to get the Neo No Way, which would in theory replace my Neverfull because it's black trim and it's like big enough that it'll feel like my water bottle, like all of my things that I would in theory like want if I needed to carry a lot more things and then just hand hold my laptop. And I didn't use that. I didn't use the Neverfull. I bought the Neo No Way thinking I was going to use it to replace the Neverfull. Also didn't use that bag. I think what they have available now, if I had to get a Neo No Way, it would be, I think it's the Neo No Way BB. It's kind of like a smaller version of it. It's not too big, but I think the problem with the Neo No Way was that I liked that you can wear it as a shoulder bag and as a crossbody, but because I'm 4'11", I just could not physically wear it as a crossbody. Like, it looked so silly on me. And so having the BB size, I think I would have worn it more as a shoulder bag and as a crossbody. And I think the BB size also comes with like a little chain as well. So there's like different ways you can wear it. I also probably wouldn't have gotten it monogram canvas. I probably would have gotten it in like empreinte leather, maybe like a fun little pink or, you know, colors like that. I think the alternative, which I did end up getting, is my Hermes Picotin 18. I think that is the perfect size as a bucket bag. You're taking away a lot of versatility with the Picotin compared to the Neo No Way, because with the Neo No Way, you can wear it as a shoulder bag versus the Picotin you're only wearing on the crook of your arm. But I feel like I use this size way more. It fits everything I need, but it doesn't look too bulky on me. The next bag I ended up selling is the Celine Belts bag. I got this in the nano size, I believe. I really think I kept this for less than a year before I sold it. It was my first like quiet luxury bag. Previous to this, I had always bought Louis Vuitton. I had always gotten bags with either monogram canvas or some sort of logos on it. So this was really my first quiet luxury bag. And I liked the look of this. At the time, I think when I got it, maybe 2021, it was already nearing the end of this style. And I did like it. I thought it was big enough to carry every day. In hindsight, I probably would have either gotten the micro or like the smallest size. I think right after I got the nano, they came out with an even tinier size because obviously this was like peak mini bag time. And so I probably would have gotten that, or I would have ditched both of those and gotten the Celine 16 instead. I always had my eye on the Celine 16. I was like, this is such a cute little bag. Very much like girl boss, quiet luxury, you know, loved the look of it. I just never pulled the trigger on it. I think a lot of it was also the price point. I think at the time, probably like $1,000 more than the Celine belt bag. I was hesitant on getting the Celine 16, but I think had I known what I know now, how difficult that bag is to get in and out of, you know, the fact that it's out of date now, I probably would have gotten the Celine 16 instead. I think I'm really impressed at how long the Celine 16 line has lasted. And it's been such an underrated style at Celine. I think they've really pushed the Celine Triomphe, the Celine Ava, but the 16 has really stayed that understated look and feel that I do really like. The next style is the Speedy 25. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've talked about this before. I believe the third Louis Vuitton bag that I ended up getting in my collection, or my third designer purchase in general, was the Louis Vuitton Speedy 25 bandolier in empreinte leather. They no longer make the style that I had because I had the ones with like the smaller, like the regular monogram. More recently, they re-released this style with the giant monogram, and I kind of don't love it with the giant monogram. I've never been a big giant monogram girly. Like, as much of a logo hoe as I am, I just like can't get past the, I don't know, I just like can't do the giant monogram. And so I ended up selling that bag because it was too big on me. It actually fit a ton. And I think the Speedy 25 works for a ton of people. And it's interesting because I was watching videos on like reviews, you know, what are top 5 classic bags you should buy, you know, all of these things. It all pointed to getting the Neverfull, the Alma, and the Speedy. And so I already had the Neverfull. I didn't have the Alma, but then I wanted to get the Speedy. And it just like didn't look great on me. My mom even at the time told me that it made me look old. And you know, like when your mom tells you these things, you're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, you know? But like in hindsight, I think she was right. And I just like, it didn't fit my vibe. It was too big on me. And because of that, I just didn't use it. It was another bag that you could wear as a crossbody. I just like didn't wear it as a crossbody because it was again too big. And so I think had I known now what I know, I do obviously have a Nano Speedy in light blue, but I think if I didn't get that one, I probably would have just gotten the Nano Speedy all black. So very similar look, just a lot smaller. If I felt inclined to buy a slightly bigger version, I might go for the 20, but even then I feel like the Nano Speedy is like really the perfect size for me. I really don't carry that much. I carry my keys, my card holder, a lip gloss, and maybe my camera if we're like, you know, traveling, going out and about, want to take pictures. But like even then it fits in the bag. So I really don't have that much to carry. So I think the Nano Speedy in the black empreinte would have been perfect for me. Okay, the next one is the Loewe Luna. I got this maybe 6 or 8 months before I ended up getting the Celine Ava. And if I remember correctly, I got a good deal on it. I think I got it from Farfetch. It was like $500 off or something like that. So I probably paid maybe $1,200 for this bag. And at the time, this was a really popular bag. I've always tried to be very cognizant of like what I'm buying and not being influenced by social trends. But I think it's hard, especially in this era, maybe like 2022, I want to say, it was probably like I was growing a lot on social media. I was gaining a lot of traction on videos, and you want to keep that momentum going. You want to buy things that people are talking about so you can review them. And I mean, that is still the case now, but I think I'm less influenced to do so now. I don't know what it is, or there just hasn't been anything interesting for me to buy. So maybe that's the problem. But I feel like I got this bag, it was on sale, it was trending. I liked it enough, but I didn't love it. I think it was hard for me to match something with the tan. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I liked how it could have been versatile. I could have gotten like a longer crossbody strap with it. I could have worn it as a crossbody, you know, all the things. And it was actually a really comfortable bag to wear. But then maybe 6 months later, I ended up getting the Celine Ava, which is pretty much the reverse version of the bag because it was white canvas with brown monogram versus the Loewe, which was white monogram with brown canvas. So it literally was just like reverse, and I probably should have just gotten the Celine Ava instead. I love my Celine Ava. I think it's a little bit easier to wear because I think it's the white base that makes it easier to wear, and also I like the zipper closure. It's a really comfortable, lightweight bag. It's also coated canvas, so it's a little bit more durable compared to just like the regular canvas that's not protected. In hindsight, I probably just should have skipped that. I did sell it, so maybe we broke even. I actually have no idea, but it's fine. The next two bags, I kind of lumped them in together, is Gucci Dionysus, however you want to pronounce it, super mini. I got this again on sale, probably around the same, probably a little bit older than the Loewe, but like probably around that same like 2021, 2022 timeframe. And I got it from Selfridges on sale. This was when I think you were still able to get the VAT refund back when you shopped in the UK. And so this was like, this feels like a long time ago when you like put in perspective like that. But I got this on sale. I think it was maybe $700 at the time, and US retail at the time was probably like $850, $900. So I was like, what a steal. Let's do it. And I liked the Dionysus line because I liked that it was different from everything that I have. I didn't really have a Gucci bag. I liked that it was a little bit edgier, and it was, I think we were going into like fall and winter, and so I just felt like this would be a really good fall and winter bag. Fall and winter came around. I did love this bag. I used it a ton, but obviously my only feedback was it was too freaking small, and like too small for me considering how little I carry, which like should speak a lot, you know? And so I ended up selling the super mini, and I got the small size. I originally wanted the mini, but I didn't love that it was square. I wanted it like also rectangular, like the same ratio. And so I ended up getting the small, and again, thought I would wear it as a shoulder bag, as a crossbody, never wore it as a crossbody. I didn't love that wearing it as a shoulder bag, it didn't stay on my shoulder, and it was just so freaking heavy that I didn't reach for it. And so I ended up selling both of those bags, and had I known what I know now in 2025, I'm glad I sold both, but I probably shouldn't have even attempted to buy either of those. I think I wanted to step outside of my comfort zone and get something that's a little bit different, and I didn't have a lot of like edgier bags. I don't really have silver hardware, and I was like, this is gonna be great. This fills a void in my collection, but I didn't really have that void because I don't typically wear things like that. That was a very big lesson learned. Like, step outside of my comfort zone to a certain extent, like the Chanel Kelly, but if I don't typically dress a little bit more edgy, aged silver hardware, probably not gonna wear it. The next bag I originally got was the Longchamp small tote, which is now rebranded to the medium. I ended up selling that one when I got my large, and I wish I just got the large the entire time because the large fits so much, but even if you don't need to fit that much, I kind of like the slouchy look of it versus the small. It doesn't give you that comfortable lived in tote look because it is still on the smaller side. I also like that the large fits your laptop, the medium or the previously small doesn't. And so I should have just gotten the large from the beginning. I've had the large now since September 2019, and it's still in amazing condition. I love it. I honestly want to get more, but I also feel like it's not my everyday bag, so I probably one's good. The next one is my first Polène bag, which was the Polène numero set. This was the number 7. They didn't have the mini size at the time. Polène also at the time when I got this, December 2020, they had very limited styles. They had the Une and maybe the Wheat mini, and like maybe like 4 or 5 styles max. And I was intrigued by the brand. I've been following the brand for a while, and I was like, okay, I really want to get this. And so I ended up getting the number 7. Had I known what I know now, because obviously I sold the number 7, and I would have just gotten the number 10, which is like the one that I love the most. If I had to pick another top handle version, I'd probably pick the Maki Mini, which is relatively newer right now. But in terms of how much I've used the number 10 compared to the number 7, it should have been a no-brainer. I should have skipped the number 7 altogether. I like the look of the number 7, but like, I just don't think it was for me. It was a little bit bulkier than I expected, especially wearing it as a crossbody. So I think hindsight 2020, I would have just gotten the number 10. The next one I sold is the Fendi Baguette Mama with the sequins. I got this vintage. It was so cute. I just didn't use it because it was so big on me. It was fine, but it wasn't my preferred size, and I think if I really insisted on getting this, I would have gotten the Fendi sequin baguette, like the regular size, or even the mini in a brighter color sequin pattern color. I feel like because I already have a lot of black bags, especially some that have sequins beads, you know, I have my DJoy and the sparkles. I have a lot of sparkly bags. I would have loved to add another sparkly bag to my collection. And I mean, never say never, there's still time, but I think I would have preferred it in a brighter color instead of getting it in black as well. And then the last one is the Montaigne BB from Louis Vuitton. This is now a discontinued style, and I got this as my second bag. And I liked the look of it. I was like, okay, I have the Neverfull, I have a big bag, now I need an everyday smaller bag that I can take to lunch, running errands, whatever. And it was a really cute bag. I just did not, again, love the vachetta handles, and I didn't know this at the time. In hindsight, knowing what I know now, I sold the Neverfull, I sold the Speedy, I sold the Neo No Way, I sold the Montaigne BB. I would have just saved all that money and gotten a classic flap from Chanel before 2020, because I made all of those purchases before 2020. Had I just saved and waited, I could have gotten a small or medium classic flap for under maybe around $5,000, which would have been the same amount of money that I spent anyways. And so obviously you don't know that when you're first starting out in luxury. I think part of the benefit of shopping luxury is that you never fully lose all your money because you can always resell it. They're constantly doing price increases, you know, things like that. So you never fully lose all your money. You might break even, you might lose a couple $100s here, or you might even make money. And so it kind of evens out at the end of the day, in my opinion. And so had I known what I know now, with all the price increases of Chanel, with selling all of those bags, I should have just put that same amount of money into a classic flap, gotten one, called it a day, and been on from there. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear about your experience with your bags, anything that you sold, what you would have gotten instead. I think we always talk about what we sold and why, but we don't really talk about what we would have gotten instead, knowing what's available now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll leave another video for you guys here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!